Hey folks, I just started it. I'm not staying, sorry.
Hello, everyone. Sorry about the delay. Looks like everyone's here. Can I? Okay. All right, you guys should be looking at my screen. Go. And I need to do one more thing. All right, we are going to get started. I need permission to record this. And once I get that, I will go ahead and get us going. I don't know what that is, but if everyone, I will mute everyone as soon as I get the capability to do so, actually. All right, let's send that in. One more time, we might have to start without the recording.
It looks like it's recording, Denisha.
Is it? Okay, because it keeps telling me I need permission, but all right, well, welcome folks. This is another Black Lives Matter at School Week of Action 2019 webinar. This one we wanted to bring to you to talk about how people are participating in this year's Week of Action, which is February 4th through the February 8th. So we've done a webinar before about how to get involved, and this one is more about the history of the past webinar is about the history of the Black Lives Matter Week of Action at School and how to participate in some of the resources we have. This one particularly is focusing on how cities are participating. So we're going to begin with a brief overview of the history of Black Lives Matter Week of Action in Schools and look at the 13 guiding principles and the national demands. And then we have folks from all the different cities listed here, hopefully, most of them are here, to give us a little update on events that they've already had. Some cities have done curriculum fairs, have done open houses, and then some cities have their calendars planned out already for the week. And so each representative for their city will have a couple minutes to kind of go over what's happening in their city. And then lastly, we'll do a Q&A session about overcoming challenges. We get emails often, how do I bring this to parents? How do I deal with administrators? How do I get buy-in from other teachers? So we hope to address those with people who have been planning this event for this year and previous years as well too. I don't know what that beeping sound is. Am I the only one who can hear that? But if you're not talking, if you can mute your phone, that'll be really, really helpful so that we don't get any feedback. So I'm going to turn it over to Jesse Hagopian from Seattle, who's going to take us through a little history and kick us off with what's happening in Seattle this year.
Wonderful. Thank you, Denisha, for hosting. And it's great to be with everybody on this important national webinar for Black Lives Matter at School. I want to just give a little context of how this began. And in 2016, it really started with one elementary school here in Seattle, John Muir Elementary. And they've been doing professional development for some time around race and equity. And they even had Ruby Bridges come and address the staff. And did lots of readings, and they decided they wanted to do an event to celebrate Black life at their school. And they partnered with a community organization called Black Men United to change the narrative. And they were going to have one of those large celebrations of students where you high-five the kids as they come in, and then have a rally inside the school to celebrate Black history and identity. And the art teacher designed a shirt that said, "Black Lives Matter, we stand together," for all of the educators to wear at that event. Well, when the media found out about it, that story went around Seattle, and then people started writing in all kinds of hateful letters. And then a particularly hateful person made a bomb threat against the elementary school for the audacity of their staff to declare openly that their Black students' lives have value. And that was a horrifying thing for many of us here. And members of the Social Equity Educator Caucus and myself approached those educators and said, "How can we support you?" And we had the idea of putting a resolution forward in our union to support John Muir Elementary. And we took it a step farther by saying we should all wear those shirts to school. And we designated October 19th as that day where we call on all educators to do so. And we weren't sure how successful that would be. We passed the resolution unanimously, but no one knew if anyone would really wear the shirts in any significant numbers. But then the orders started coming in, and we ended up with over 3,000 teachers out of the 5,000 in Seattle coming to school that day wearing Black Lives Matter shirts, and many teaching lessons about institutional racism that day. And it was an explosion that was exhilarating to see that there was so many people that knew that institutional racism was infecting our schools. And that story got picked up in the local and national media, and our wonderful teaching comrades in Rochester and in Philadelphia that same year built on the struggle and designed their own Black Lives Matter at School actions. And in Philadelphia, the educators took what we'd done with a one-day action and actually expanded that into a full week of Black Lives Matter at School week that year, and broke down the 13 principles of the Black Lives Matter Global Network into teaching points for each day of the week. An incredible advancement of this movement. And then last year was our first national Black Lives Matter at School week of action, where we coordinated with Philadelphia and Seattle, and ended up with over 20 cities coming together to teach to the 13 principles of the Black Lives Matter Global Network, and also to rally behind three major demands last year, which was end zero tolerance discipline and replace it with restorative justice as a way to fight against the school to prison pipeline. Mandate Black history and ethnic studies. We know too often our curriculum hides the contributions and the struggles of Black people and people of color. And then we said hire more Black teachers. We know that there's immense data that shows that Black students graduate at higher rates when they have even one Black teacher in their K-12 career. And this year we built on that by adding a fourth demand, which is fund counselors, not cops. And that demand arises because 1.6 million children in the United States today go to a school where there is a police officer, but not a counselor. And that is just a clear building of the school to prison pipeline that we want to stand against and use our resources to support and nurture our youth rather than lock them up, criminalize them, and punish them. And so that's a bit about the background of what our movement is really standing for. And I think it's just been beautiful to see the way teachers have risen up and taught about Black intersectional identity, Black history, in Seattle and across the country. So I just want to continue by saying some of the plans that we have for the action this year in Seattle. The Seattle Education Association passed the resolution again this year to support the Black Lives Matter at School Week. So did the Seattle PTA, which was huge for us that the PTA is supporting this action. And we have 3 major events happening during the week. On Monday at Kane Hall at the University of Washington, we're hosting a Teaching for Black Lives book forum, an event with students, parents, and educators in Seattle who will be coming together to talk about what anti-racist pedagogy looks like and drawing on the book that I helped co-edit, Teaching for Black Lives. Then on Wednesday, we are joining with many cities across the country who are hosting rallies and protests at their school board meeting. And I'm really excited about this action because the NAACP Youth Coalition is taking the lead in organizing this. So our students are going to be the ones putting forward the demands around what they need to see changed in our public school system to address the needs of Black students. And then on the Friday at the end of the week, we're hosting a student speak out and talent showcase to highlight and make really the phrase young, gifted, and Black very visible in our society. And so we have an incredible lineup. My son's elementary school dance troupe is going to be performing. Many youth speakers, poets, videographers are going to be demonstrating to us what Black Lives Matter at school really is and what it should look like. And so I'm excited about the potential of the actions this year. And I'll just end by saying, I think the creative challenge is something that we're going to much more integrate into our week this year. If you haven't seen it on the website, blacklivesmatteratschool.com, you can click on the creative challenge button and there's a prompt there. Schools show Black Lives Matter and answering that prompt creatively with poetry, with visual art, is going to be a big part of what we do here in Seattle this year. So thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Jesse, for getting us started, giving us the history and talking about Seattle. We're sticking in the West Coast. Up next, we have Jeff Stone, I believe, is on from Edmonds, Washington, who's going to tell us a little bit about what they've got planned for the week.
If possible, Roshana is stuck in her lovely traffic, and would it be possible to put us down a couple more and let Roshana get here? Would that be okay?
Yeah, we can come back to you. I can easily come back up. All right, well, we kind of go from Seattle, Washington, all the way over to Boston. We don't have a lot of cities in between, and we're working on that. I know for a while we had somebody from Vegas who was working on it. But yeah, we've got Joel from Boston, the BTU, is going to tell us a little bit about what they've got planned.
How you guys doing? Thank you for the whole history overview. That was really interesting just to learn about that. Just real quick, as you can see, we have a calendar. I think we actually got this from Howard County or Baltimore, this kind of format. And that's been the best part, I really think, is the sharing of information. So you don't have to recreate everything, because I was trying to create a bunch of flyers and we saw this and like, whoa, that was way simpler. Let's just do this. And then if things want to change, they can. So like Monday, everyone's going to wear, we ordered a bunch of BTU Black Lives Matter buttons. There's about 2,000. So we're going to hand that out all over the city. So people will be wearing not only our union's logo, but it says Black Lives Matter on it. Tuesday, everyone who's committed is going to try to teach a lesson or do the art contest that was mentioned. Then Wednesday, we're all going to show up at the school board meeting and give a testimony on one of the demands. So either, you know, I don't have to list them, but one of the demands. So I have a Google form that people are going to fill out and commit to one of the demands and do a public statement. So that'll be on record. It'll be in front of the school board. I suggested we go down with baseball bats and billy clubs and demand change, but you know, the board said, and the committee was like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. We'll see one day. But for right now, we're going to try this peaceful protest and see if that works. Then on Thursday, we're going to have a town hall. I really wanted to keep this maybe one speaker, a guy who's a rapper who's going to just share some rap song to inspire us. And then we're going to do a call to action. Everyone in the room, don't spread this, you know, like our idea is we're going to tweet the UN and ask for peacekeepers to come in. We're saying we're under duress. They won't fully fund our schools. There's a school to prison pipeline. We can't keep surviving like this. So we're gonna cause a massive Twitter kind of rally, and maybe a peacekeeper might come. Probably not, but it'll be nice just to get some people just to ask for assistance. And then also one of the former school board members. Here in Boston, our school board members are appointed, not elected, and the only one who would consistently vote for the people, for the children, for Black lives, for Hispanic lives. So most of the time her votes would be 5-1, would just be her voting against the constituent that the mayor put out. And actually recently they just kicked her off the board. They did not renew her to come back on, but we're gonna have her come and speak, since she's one of the heroes for Black lives in Boston. And she's going to speak also. So that's going to be really exciting. And then Friday, we're going to do an art gallery of the creative art, and then try to do some spoken word, get some of the high schoolers and middle schoolers out to do some spoken word. Once again, more importantly, just networking, getting people together to connect, because I really feel like this has been great just to see the ideas and what people are doing and learning history. So they want the same thing. People from NAACP, people from BEAM, the Black Educated Mothers getting together, people from the school board, people from the union, everyone getting together to care about Black lives and our children. And so that's it. I think it's going to be a good week. Our goal is to get like 200 people signed up, because I just keep telling people, imagine 200 people teaching lessons, 200 people wearing shirts, 200 people tweeting. That's just a big just little epicenter of something that could actually strike fire and change. So that's it here from Boston.
Thank you so much, Joel. And we noted that Boston Teachers Union voted to endorse on January 9th at their meeting. So that's a good support that you're getting there from the BTU. And we hope other cities also, we're getting reports from other cities that are getting endorsements from their local as well too.
I'm happy. I'm hoping that our union doing this will inspire other unions en masse also to do it.
That's why we collect the names and we publish that on our website the week of how many unions endorse. So you can kind of shame them in the, why didn't you join everyone else?
Right. So
yeah. All right, thanks. Next up, we are headed to, sorry, I lost here. Howard County, Maryland, and also Baltimore. We have, different cities in Maryland participating. I do have pictures here from Howard County, but I believe someone from Baltimore is on, Christina's on, and I don't know if the Howard County is on, so I'll let either one of you take it away. Hi, Christina.
Hi, so I'm going to be giving Erica's update. Erica's doing the organizing out in Howard County. And so Howard County is right now circulating a petition in support of a school board resolution. The school board meeting, the petition is still open, but the school board meeting happened yesterday and the resolution passed. So the Howard County Board of Education approved Black Lives Matter. We can endorse it. And so a press release is going to be coming out soon. And in terms of actions and things that they have planned, a big part of the events that are planned in Howard County center on restorative justice. And so to that end, one of the Howard County events is going to be about training educators on restorative justice and zero tolerance. That's going to be a student panel. They're also having a day of action on Wednesday and encouraging people to wear shirts to the school and throughout the community. On the 7th, they're going to partner with both events that are happening in Baltimore City and then also in Washington, D.C., because Howard County is kind of smack dab in the middle. And then Friday, February 8th, what they're promoting is to have everyone teach a Black Lives Matter lesson in school. On the Baltimore side, our union, the other BTU, the Baltimore Teachers Union, voted to endorse at their executive board meeting on January 10th. We're working on putting together a resolution for the city council to consider. Last year, we got 11 out of 13 city council members to endorse as individuals, and now we're going to put a resolution in front of the entire board to endorse the week of action. In terms of actions during the week, we've got two major things planned. Maryland has a really short legislative session. It's only 90 days. And luckily, the Baltimore City Lobby Day, where different organizations charter buses to go to the state capitol, is happening during the week of action. So we're going to co-opt all of the buses, and we're going to use that transportation to take our families and school communities out to Annapolis to do some kinds of lobbying, but also potentially some direct action there. We also have a local police brutality protest every Wednesday called West Wednesdays, which is in honor of Tyrone West. He was the victim of a police killing, I want to say 3.5 years ago. And his sister, Tawanda West, every Wednesday hosts a protest. And so on West Wednesday, we're going to be rallying in support of Tyrone West. We have a couple educational events planned. And our final two events, we're ending the week with two events, one on Friday, and then we're also extending it into Sunday. On Friday, we're having a youth open mic where that is going to be entirely youth run. The two biggest organizations guiding this work are the Baltimore Movement of Rank and File Educators and then the Baltimore Algebra Project, which are youth organizers, or one group of our youth organizers here in Baltimore. And then on Sunday, we're going to have a big birthday party for a community activist who is really close to a lot of our hearts because she is our community elder, she is our inspiration, and it's her birthday on Sunday. And so we're going to have a big celebration of her, and we're also going to use that opportunity to raise some money for teachers who are putting together classroom projects to support the principles of Black Lives Matter. So that's it for Maryland.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Christina, for sharing both Howard County and Baltimore. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you in the week because DC is pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we're moving to next is Washington, DC. We've got Rosalie Riaz, who has worked with DC events are planned by an organization called DC Area Educators for Social Justice, which is a part of Teaching for Change.
Also, I'm from Rockville, Maryland originally, just to put that out there.
Shout out to Rockville, Maryland in the house.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rosalie. I'm joining on behalf of Teaching for Change. And because this is our second year planning the Week of Action, this year we were really focusing on teacher outreach. So a lot of our planning was happening during evening meetings, but we've also started meeting with school admin and educators bright and early in the morning for their kind of staff meetings. And we were bringing breakfast to kind of share the information on the Week of Action. And that has really helped raise our number of educators that are signing on to endorse the Week of Action. And when we do that, we really root the conversation in the national demands and 13 guiding principles that focus on improving the school experience for students of color. What's been really helpful for us is focusing on the 13 guiding principles, because by centering diversity, empathy, and restorative justice, it's helped us to reassure educators that hopefully this work is already happening in their classroom, but also pushing school leaders and teachers to think about the way that they design curricula and practice family engagement. So some events that we are or have recently had, we have had an open house in December where we created these resource binders for different age levels. So we had early childhood, elementary, middle school, and high. And that was just giving space for educators to discuss lessons, ideas that they have for the week of action, really promoting a lot of the resources and ratings that are on the DC area for social justice site, and now the Black Lives Matter at School curriculum folder drive. We have recently had our curriculum fair that was co-hosted with Howard University School of Education, where we held mini workshop sessions on lessons that educators can bring into their classroom during the week of action, and had local organizations table to share how their work can tie into the week of action. And during that event, we had Jonathan Likes of BYP, the Black Youth Project 100, which was really powerful to share their Black Joy experience curricula, and share the ways that we can also use music, arts, and different forms of media during the week of action. Tomorrow, we will be holding our second session for early childhood and elementary educators on exploring race, representation, and history in children's literature. And it's been a very exciting time where we've reached out to publishers that are really putting out work that tie in and highlight the 13 guiding principles to ask for donations. So those have been coming in, and we've been sharing those with educators in our network to continue to build this curriculum. So we're excited and continuing to organize. As far as events, we are planning now with Trinity University for an event on that Monday. Tuesday, DCPS Equity Office is holding a panel discussion for students. Wednesday, we are working with the Black Lives Matter local DC chapter for a screening. Thursday will be an intergenerational dialogue. And on that Friday, we will also be having a youth-led poetry open mic session on an ode to Black villages. So.
Great. Thanks, Rosalie. And I'm excited. I'm at Trinity in DC, a college, and I put it out there. They're the higher ed sign up. For those of you who don't know, we're getting higher ed faculty to sign on, and a couple faculty and some graduate students are excited to put on an event for Trinity students this year. So this will be the first. We did a curriculum fair last time. This will be the first event for students at Trinity. So we want to see higher ed join this important movement as well. All right, we're on to Philadelphia, and we've got Tamara, and I'm not sure if someone else is joining her.
Yeah, this is Shaw as well.
Yes, me and Shaw.
Oh, and Shaw, yes, great. Okay, I'll let you guys take it away. There's your calendar up there.
Thank you. So first of all, this is really exciting. I just want to give love to everybody. It's always so exciting to see these principles come alive across all the different cities, because I just love it. Okay, so for the week, something different this year is we actually went to the school board just recently. We have a new school board, because as I'm sure some people may be aware, Philadelphia was under state control until literally last year when SRC was abolished. So a group of about 5 or 6 teachers made a concentrated ask to the school board, and we actually got a soft endorsement by a quote from the president of the school board, who said that even though Black Lives Matter at School's curriculum isn't the official curriculum, she was like, we definitely support teachers to include this endeavor and bring it to the classroom. And we all just wanted to cry and weep, because we're always excited when we even get soft endorsements. We also are continuing with our higher ed group that's bringing more people on board. And then we are also, so some of the highlights of our week is this year we're having actually a trans educators workshop that's opening up the week. Well, it's opening up the week after the big one book thing that's happening at the Free Library. And then in the middle of the week for the rally, which everybody is having a huge rally. So we have people like Michael Cord, Philadelphia Student Union, and Sharif El-Mekki from the foundation, and the Stadium Stompers. And we're having it at Temple, which I think is amazing, because Stadium Stompers have been constantly protesting Temple for their building of a stadium in North Philly without asking permission. And so one of the main organizers is speaking at the rally around the principals. And then we're also closing the week with a panel around gun violence and trauma in our schools. We have a new logo this year that's actually designed by a student. And we just had our kickoff yesterday where people bought t-shirts and bought buttons. And we're basically moving our wear a t-shirt and button day to the national rally. So it can be also like a social media event with that. And we also have been doing teach-ins at a lot of the local schools already, where we're going in and sharing curriculum with them and ideas and FAQs. We have really comprehensive FAQ for schools to deal with, like, what if my principal says I can't do it? Or what if they say that Black Lives Matter is political? Blah, 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 all these different things. And so we basically created kind of a toolkit that no matter what type of school you're at, you're able to have a conversation with your principal in a way that makes you feel kind of supported and not, be by yourself. I feel that's it. Shaw, did I miss anything?
I think the only other thing is the Racial Justice Committee, which the week comes out of, has been working on an anti-racism and bias training, connecting it to the demands of the week, and we're going to be rolling that out in March.
Oh, in March, yes, actually finished. It's a 20-hour training, and the core book for the training is stamped from the beginning. And we actually got a quote from the school board because we had a couple of teachers mention the importance of the anti-racist and bias training. And what we're including, one of the main definitions in that training is the difference between anti-racism, racism, segregationist, assimilationist, and queer racism, gender racism, and class racism. And then the goal is for them to be able to take this information and create an anti-racist lesson plan for their classroom and take it back to their class. And hopefully we'll be doing these cohorts starting in March, but they'll be going on ongoing throughout the summer, and that they'll be able to take the full 20 hours.
Wow. All I can say is, wow, Philly is killing it. And I just want to give another shout out. This did start in Seattle, as Jesse said, for a day, but Philly was the first group to take this and make this a week. I remember hearing about this in 2016. I was like following the Working Educators Caucus on Facebook, and I was like, is this for real? Are they really doing a week-long curriculum? And I said, it was the most badass thing I ever saw, and they put everything in a Google Doc. I downloaded everything because I thought for sure it would disappear, and it didn't. And I remember reaching out, and I said, you guys got to present this at Free Minds, Free People and get people going. And that's where we got the national going. Like, people who attended that workshop signed up, and then we went full force in the 2017. So I just want to give a big shout out to Philly to thank you guys for holding it down and just making this really, really doing incredible work. We are all super impressed with what you got going on. All right, so sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it. I'm excited.
Awesome, thank you. So we are going to back up to Edmonds, Washington, but before that, Christina Duncan wanted to add something from Baltimore, so I'll let her do that while we're backing up to go back to Edmonds, Washington.
Sorry, I wanted to just add one more thing that was happening in Baltimore that is a really big new component of our work this year. One of our partners here in Baltimore, the Teachers Democracy Project, funded 8 educators, 7 of whom were born in Baltimore, 7 of the 8 educators are Black, to each write a week-long curriculum that is aligned to the Black Lives Matter Week of Action principles, but focuses on local Baltimore history. And so that curriculum dropped 2 days ago. It went online 2 days ago. And we had an event on that same day to get educators ready to teach these lessons, because we found that one of the stumbling blocks was that people wanted to teach the lessons, but then when they got in front of their kids, it was much harder than they kind of mentally had gamed out. So we had that in-person event to try to get people really ready for it. And we had over 100 people show up to that event. And so I'm really excited for all of these local Baltimore lessons to be in front of our kids.
There you go. That's amazing, Christina. Thanks for adding that. And that's whoever did that funding, that's going to be really important work. You might even look in, I don't know how they feel, but some type of Baltimore Historical Society might want to, help you guys document that, because that's what they should do.
That's a really good
All
idea.
right, yeah, that's really cool. All right, we got Jeff Stone, who's going to tell us a little bit about what's happening in Edmonds, Washington.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. So I love the fact that everybody else, they could just say Philadelphia, Baltimore, and they had to put Edmonds, Washington by us. We are a smaller district. We're just north of Seattle, and we serve was really 5 cities and a couple other unincorporated areas. This is our first year doing this, and so I will reiterate, thank you very much, Seattle, Philadelphia, New York. We are using your work, and so we could not be doing this without you, so thank you. And Roshana is going to be joined by Roshana, but she's stuck in our traffic. It's like we're just north of Seattle, and it sucks. So, all right. So we just kind of give a quick overview of what we're doing. Our big goal for this year is to build community. As I said, we're these 5 separate cities that our school district serves, and we're trying to figure out how do we build momentum for years to come. And so we're taking the initiative of focusing on evening events and building community. And so there's 5 of us, who have been kind of steering it, and through working with students and community members, we came up with a week of action evening events. And so we're going to start off our Monday with a community panel where the opening dialogue focuses on Black Lives Matter in Edmonds. Tuesday is going to be, we're calling it Speak Your Truth, but we have a guest presenter to come in. We'll do they're calling it a power analysis, but identifying where oppression exists in our communities. And I mean, for where we are, just add a little context. We became a district of color 2 years ago, but we are 92% white educators. And so we have a big discrepancy between our teaching staff and our students. And so this idea of we're still engaging in raising awareness about what are the realities in our cities. So Speaking Your Truth is helping to create that awareness in our communities. For the national rally, we don't have a school board meeting, so we're doing a community celebration, bringing in youth to perform and celebrate Black lives. Thursday, specific for teachers, we're bringing just kind of a professional development night. It's going to aim at those who want to do something but aren't sure what to do. Give them a couple of lessons to look at and try it on Friday. And so Friday during the day is a big push to teach a lesson. And Friday night, we're going to be looking at how do we move forward with some racial caucusing and then some community planning. So it's kind of our big push. But then we've been trying to get educators to do lessons during the week. And so we have 2 schools that are going to be doing it pretty heavily. Then lots of spottiness here or there. So it's for our first year, we're satisfied as a start. Some of the challenges that we've faced, we are a smaller district. We are historically white. We are formerly red line suburbs, and so we're still dealing with segregation that persists from that, and the racism that's still around and is embedded in our systems that we're still trying to just address. The ambiguity of district leadership, it's been a challenge. It's like we're doing this, thumbs up, thumbs to the side, and just trying to go forward with that. And we really are, again, with these 5 separate communities, we are, the way we phrase it, we're de-siloed. And so there's not much community to start with. And so it's been a challenge with that to start. Our successes on the flip side have been, we are building a sense of community. We are educators, we have a lot of educators doing the work in their own little rooms, but trying to bring us together, pull in community members to learn from each other. Let's see. We really are pushing people not to be neutral, which for our location is a big deal as kind of the Seattle nice. Let's just not see let's not see color. Let's just we'll just everybody's all equal. And so we're pushing people to recognize reality. It is happening. We have I forget. Sorry, I want to say 1,300 teachers, and we have 125 people buying shirts and going to wear shirts, which I thought was pretty good. They're not all going to do lessons, but we're working on that. Yeah, and our union did endorse this unanimously, and so that was pretty darn cool. The Edmonds Education Association endorsed it. So yeah, I don't know, that's Edmonds. Yeah, thanks.
Great, thank you so much, Jeff. And I think it's really important for people on the call to hear about a city doing it for the first time, because you know, Seattle started it, Philly started it, so you think, man, we can't do that. Yes, you can, right? And you can do this in your city, and you can do it for the first time. You just got to jump in, even if there's just 4 of you, right, and get it going. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
All right, we are headed to New York City, and we have Myri on the line who's going to tell us what New York City's got going on. We've got their calendar here and some photos from some events they've had already. Myri, we can't hear you. You're muted. Yeah, no, it says the microphone is off. Yeah, I don't know how to undo your microphone. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, all right. So we kicked off our week of action way ahead. So last Saturday we had a curriculum fair. Are you guys hearing me? Good. So we had a week of we kicked off last Saturday with a week of with a curriculum fair. It went well. This Sunday we are going to be on WBAI 99.5 FM, a radio station live on a program called La Buzz Latina from 6 to 7 p.m. We'll be promoting the week of action. So for people who want to log in on the internet, it's 99.5 FM. So it starts officially Monday, February 4th, where we have people doing curriculums in their classroom, teaching lessons. And it kicks off with a big cultural celebration at CPE1. As we know, the Black community is very diverse, different languages, cultures. So we're gonna have some dancing in Manhattan on that first day. Tuesday, it's the Lunar New Year, so we have a public holiday here in New York, so schools are out. However, on that day, we'll be meeting with the teens at Location People's Forum. We'll be having a sign-making party. We'll be making signs for the upcoming events for Wednesday and Thursday, posters and so on. So we'll be having a dance party that day. Wednesday, we will not be in sync with you guys in doing that major action. However, we'll have walk-ins in each individual school. We'll have a big event that Wednesday at Bank Street College, Teachers College in Manhattan, where we'll have a forum from 4 to 8:30 p.m. On Thursday, that's when we're gonna have our big major action. It's from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. We're gonna be at the steps of City Hall. We're gonna be making demands to the chancellor, to the mayor, that they both undo systemic racism by addressing the 4 demands, the 4 national demands. So that's on that Thursday. That's our major action. We have a lot of speakers gonna be there, politicians and so on and so forth. At that same evening from 4 to 7 p.m., we're working with allies, the Alliance for Quality Education and Coalition for Educational Justice. They'll be at the NYU Metropolitan Center for Research on Equity and Transformation in Schools. So they're gonna be doing some real authentic work. They're gonna be grading curriculum using a scorecard that was created by researchers at NYU to see how cultural relevant or how cultural irrelevant the curriculum is. And they're gonna also be grading tests. So it's a family event. You're gonna have parents there, educators and so on, and organizations. At 6 to 8 p.m. that same Thursday, it's higher ed at Hunter College. There's going to be a critical conversations. On Friday, that's when the week ends, and we're going to have a forum at the Schomburg Center for Black Research in Harlem, and that terminates that week. I just want to point out that that week also is National School Counseling Week, so as a teacher and a counselor, I have two things to do, so just advocate for counseling in our schools. So I just need to highlight that it's National School Counseling Week. Challenges that we face, the United Federation of Teachers has still not supported or endorsed the social justice action of endorsing the Black Lives Week of Matter at School on my resolution. So this is the second year I brought up the resolution to the body. This time around, I was ruled out of order for asking the president, is he aware of the NEA's almost unanimous decision to endorse the action? I asked him again, does he read the minutes from those summit? I guess he got embarrassed, so he ruled me and the motion out of action. However, this is a good segue to say I'm happy to announce that I'll be running for the president of the United Federation of Teachers in New York City. And as a proud member of the U-Corps, a movement of rank and file educators, we're going to be joined by strong advocates such as GLE and others, and we're going to move them right out of this ancient dinosaurical period of time era that they're living in, and we're going to move it forward. So thank you, Black Lives family.
Mari, that's awesome. I wish I could move to New York and vote for you. That's amazing. Thank you so much, New York, and for everything you're doing. And I think, it's been disappointing. Every year we hear UFT will not endorse. I believe one of these years we're going to get that endorsement. And if it means making you president, then we'll do it, right? We'll get it done. Thank you so much. All right, our last state, and this is, like Washington, there are multiple cities in New Jersey that are participating. I hope I have them all represented on here. I was gonna list Bayonne, Montclair, it's different things going on, but we do have, I believe, TJ Whitaker on the phone to talk a little bit about what's happening in some parts of New Jersey. It might not be all of New Jersey, but at least what's happening in that area.
Yes, thanks so much, folks. So yeah, as was said, Jersey is so spread out, so it's hard to do like individual cities. But
and I'm from New Jersey. So shout
out. All right, thanks a lot. For Maps for Freedom School is I work with Okai Core, who is usually I think on our call. We are in South Orange Maplewood, which is located maybe like 10 minutes outside of Newark, 5 minutes outside of Newark. We have 3 events planned. Well, actually, before I start that. Tomorrow morning, we have a lesson planning summit I think we may have 25 people signed up for now, and that's throughout the county. And we're going to just, again, share lessons. There's going to be a resource tutorial on the national site and the national resources. Once the week kicks off in South Orange Maplewood, we have 3 events planned on Monday. We have a keynote speaker. Our theme on Monday, we're doing a loving engagement and restorative practices. We do have a keynote speaker, but our prime event is a co-facilitated 2-hour workshop on keeping the police out of schools. And we're going to be using the Advancement Project toolkit for that. And we have students lined up to co-facilitate, so we're really excited about that. On Wednesday, we're having a celebration of Black teachers. So we've invited all of the Black teachers in our district and throughout the county to attend. We will have a keynote speaker there who's actually one of our board members. But we also will, on that evening, air the video testimony from students responding to the creative challenge. We'll also have an art exhibit from students who responded to the creative challenge artistically with visual art. We have our special dance company is going to do a dance that they have choreographed to Selma. And then on Friday, It's celebrating Black women and unapologetically Black. We have the commissioner of the Amistad, New Jersey Amistad Commission, Dr. Stephanie Harris, is going to be our keynote speaker. And then we have a poet in residence, a former Columbia High School student. She graduated in 2012. She is back doing an 8-week poetry workshop with some of our high school students. She's going to be a feature poet, and we're going to have some students doing spoken word as well. And then we have an open mic on the Unapologetically Black and Celebrating Black Women theme. Also throughout the week, everyone is committed to doing the lessons as well. And then as far as the other cities, in Pleasantville, they're looking to put together an event support around Black teachers. In Pennsauken, in way down South Jersey, there's an event on Thursday, February 7th at the Pennsauken Library. Fatima Hayes is coordinating that, and that's a conversation around race. And Bayonne, New Jersey is also participating. They are screening a film, Fair Game, Surviving a 1960 Lynching, with a conversation after that. Montclair is not doing any evening events, but they are committed to teaching lessons throughout the week. And they're also doing a day of action on Friday, wearing their T-shirts. And lastly, we're all committed to our day of action is going to be on Friday, I guess, where we're all committed to calling, texting, emailing the state commissioner to follow up on his verbal support. He gave verbal support to hiring and supporting Black teachers. So we're going to use our day of action to call him up and kind of remind him of that.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, TJ, for sharing about New Jersey. So these are the cities that we have represented, but these are not the only cities participating. I remember last year in DC, I knew DC and Howard County and Baltimore were participating. And then the first day I was at a nail salon and on the news, PG County was on the news for participating, but I had not known anyone from County was doing this. So we know that there are other cities and counties doing this, and we hope that this webinar has inspired you if you want to take this to your school and to your city to consider participating, because there are many different ways. We do have a few minutes left, and I know there's a lot of people on the call. This is like you came because you wanted information. So we can do a kind of question and answer here. I just want to point out there are lots of resources to help you get started. So we have a great, awesome website, blacklivesmatteratSchool.com. There you're going to find a lot of resources. You're going to find the starter kit. We created this year, the Outreach Committee created a starter kit. That just has, so New York did an amazing job in Philadelphia. They had a lot of materials like the frequently asked questions come from New York City. And so we put those in there. Someone in New York, I believe her name is Leilana, she did an amazing job taking the principles and writing them for early childhood. So we put that in there, like how do you talk about restorative justice to a 3-year-old, right? And so that's an amazing that's in there. All of the sample endorsement language from different unions are in there. So if you want to submit something to your union, you can build off some of the language that's in there. And the frequently asked questions really get at the pushback that you might get, right? What might parents say? What about your administrators? You know, I've gone out to schools in the district area to talk to teachers who, you know, an administrator said, you know, their biggest pushback are sometimes from non-Black people of color parents who say, well, what about us? And I said, you know, there's nothing stopping you from doing other group. This is a week for Black lives, and that's okay. We're proud of that. But we don't say you can't celebrate Native lives and Indigenous lives and Arab lives and every other lives in between, but it shouldn't come at the expense of doing this week. So we understand that those are critical conversations to have. And so we have resources built around that. A lot of the curriculum materials are on the website. So just to give you a quick overview, what happens is that nationally, we have a curriculum committee headed up by Chris Rogers out of Philadelphia and some other folks who joined him. And I don't know if that's on the website yet, but we'll get it up there. But we have a Bitly site that has all of the national curriculum materials. And then a lot of local cities have their own curriculum materials. So DC has some on our website. Seattle has some, Philadelphia has some, New York. So again, you can create your own resources. You can use the national resources. But like I think Jeff said, or someone said in the beginning, you don't have to start this all over again. There are plenty of flyers. There are plenty of materials like, I'm sorry, that was Joel who said that from Boston, right? Get out there and see what's out there and borrow it, right? That's what teaching is. It's borrowing other people's ideas. It's about giving them credit, right? So we say, shout out to New York for creating this document, here you go. And then we had to modify some of the language because it was specific to New York City issues, right? And so we shared that out. So we do have a lot of resources on the website. If you need more and you can't find it, you can email us at blacklivesmatter@school2@gmail.com. I don't know why the 2 is there. I didn't create the email, but that must be what we can get. I do check the email, though. I'm one of the people who check and answer, so I'll send you as much information as I can. And so that's just some information to get it out there. I would like to do some questions and answers. I think if you're on the computer, you should be able to type in the chat, like you can put hands up, and that might let me know you have a question. If you're on the phone, you're just going to have to jump in there because I have no way of knowing that you want to say anything. So if there's anyone with really burning questions for the next few minutes, please let us know and we'll try do our best to answer them. Ooh, I just stopped sharing my computer, but I don't think you needed to see that anymore. Chat, let's see what's up here. Oh, here's the link to, yeah, everyone, if you're in the computer, there's a link to the national curriculum, the bit.ly page, and then if we're gonna get that up on the website, I just gotta reach out to Jesse, make sure he gets that on there. Anyone have a question before we end this?
I guess I can pose a question. An educator has recently reached out that one of the parents is pushing back on the 13 guiding principles around queer affirming and trans affirming. If that's anything that another city or educator has experienced, we'd love any additional resources on how to navigate that conversation or just provide support around for that school.
Thanks, Rosalie. That is an issue. I know, you know, some of the schools I went to were the preschool, so they might not really talk about those issues for 3 and 4 year olds. They might just focus on collective value. I think for me, it's a testament that Black Lives Matter is a fully inclusive organization, and that's a part of it, right? But yeah, I don't know. Has anyone else in Philly or New York or some of the places in New Jersey have to deal with some pushback around some of the principles?
Well, as for New York, we have a lot of folks who's from a different race whose husband are police officers. So, you know, the last one with fund counselors, not cops, could be an issue, but around every issue, there's a solution. So we just got to put it out there that we really need counselors. So calling on the American School Counselor Association, ASCA, to really put this in their week of action, National School Counseling Week, to say we need more counselors in schools, and that's the message. There's no going around it.
Yeah, I've actually had some counseling students reaching out to support us because it's a counseling week. I think, you know,
I would like to say one other thing. I didn't cut you off, but for the depending on the grade level, Rosalie, I know something that's helped us, and it's included in the national curriculum, are books and materials around the queer and trans affirming principles. A lot of times, especially for early childhood, we have recommended, we have like a set of books that are recommended, that we recommend, that got recommended us from the original LGBTQ curriculum that we're working on, because that was a big thing that we didn't know what to do with it, because a lot of the complaints for our first curriculum was that it was like middle years and up. So we made a huge choice the second year to really try to get input from preschool teachers. So I find that for queer and trans affirming values, if you start with collective value with your parents and then push into where queer and trans affirming comes from, and because it's a similar conversation about, well, is this a political movement? Are you trying to make my kids hate people? It's the same thing, same bucket of fear, right? So the key is really just to say, just like we have curriculum that works on Indigenous people and their place in this world, we also have to work on understanding everybody's place in this world, right? And so because we know that queer and trans affirming children come in all shapes and sizes and start at all ages, we just want to make sure that we are, it's no, like one thing that I just added, we added to our local curriculum was the library videos with the drag queens doing storytelling. And there's a great video where the kids are asking the drag queen questions about, like, what do they do? Why do they dress up? What does that mean? And the interviews are done in a child's lens with 7 to 8 year olds. So those, I can actually share those videos with you, Roland, and those are something that you might want to use like as a starting point. Sorry, that's what I want to say.
No, that's great. Thanks so much, Tamara. I think that's really good. And I know DC did add, our early childhood has books and resources and lessons that get at the queer affirming their stories. But it is an issue that we understand that, but again, it's like you said, those kids are in the schools and we want to welcome them like we would anyone else, right? We want them to be a part of this, and that's really important. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, we've been
Can I add one more?
struggling.
Go ahead, Joel.
Oh, sorry. I know in Boston we've had issues because before I haven't been here that long, but Boston was a segregated school system until maybe the 90s. So we still have a lot of teachers that supported the segregated system. And they've all landed in like 2 schools. I thought that was a misnomer until we started this BLM this week, and they really have been calling our political director, and people from our union have had to go over to the school and just try to say like, this isn't an anti-police kind of movement. Look at what the things that we want are the same things that you guys want for the students, right? I would also look at what's happening in LA with the union. They won their demands, and most of the demands were for students. I mean, you should really help all students, that we need smaller class sizes, that we need curriculum that looks like the students. Even in the union contract they have in LA, they were able to get funding for immigrant students to get free lawyers. So these are things you should point people to, like what's being done in progressive mindsets. And so that could kind of ease their fears, because it's kind of lines up to what they know is right, in this wake. And if they don't, you're not going to get everybody, There'll always be those people that history will, shame them when their picture is on the other side of the
Or maybe they'll come around next year, right? You never know.
Okay. All right. You have more hope than I do.
I'm a little more hopeful, but I know. Naive.
So on the political strategizing side of this, I'm going to take credit for the fact that our demands in Baltimore, I think we're part of the push for our district to create and fund a director of equity. And so having a director of equity who is a point person who we can kind of partner with to the extent that we can to provide cover for people has been really useful. And so I think that local demands are a really great place to get specific and to just like address this where you are, because local demands allowed us to really like do an assessment of where we are here and what's the next step. And we saw that when we got specific in the local demands about what our next step is, and really target demands at specific people, we were able to really just move the needle a little bit, but certainly a little bit farther than I would have expected, given that it's just been a single year worth of action.
Yeah, thank you. That's important. I know Jesse he already had to go. He likes to tell the story of how the demands matter. Washington, I don't know, Jeff, is it all of the state of Washington or just Seattle, but they are mandating ethnic studies now. And that's part of the work that came out of the push for the demands. I know Jesse's teaching ethnic studies at his high school. So I don't know if that was statewide or not, but I know it works to have these demands and to put them forward.
Yeah, it's a WEA. I don't know if demand's a strong word, but it's certainly a resolution to go forward. And I'm not sure where it's sitting at, but yeah, so it helps a lot, that's for sure.
Great. All right, well, we're a little over 9 o'clock. I know I don't have a life, but some of you do. Thank you all so much for joining us. If you do have questions, please send the email blacklivesmatter@schools2@gmail.com. Visit the website. There was some questions. If you're on social media and you see anything from any of the cities, please like and share stuff. It helps spread the word. There are hashtags out of New York, hashtag NYC Schools Deserve. And some people are looking for student activists to kind of join in their schools. So we're going to be asking people to sign up a contact list. We'll send that around. If you're not part of the national Google group, please send an email and saying you want to be on it, and I will add you to it. That's how we communicate through this Google group. And we'll send around a doc and ask people to sign up information. And that way, if you want to reach out to a person in a particular city, and we'll have the link to this recording and the PowerPoint posted on the website, but I can also email those to you as well. All right, folks, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing all the photos during the week. Please tweet photos, share them out. We do have a hashtag. We have an @BLM Schools, and then we should have a hashtag BLM at School 2019. But please use both of those. We'll send that out again because we like to collect as much information as we can.
All right, nice.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.
All right, peace.